After returning from our Alaska cruise on the Discovery Princess, there are quite a few observations that I have about cruising that I thought I would share with you in this video as tips, observations, and suggestions. Hopefully these will make cruising easier for you. I'll divide them into several major categories, starting with preboarding and embarkation. If you're flying to your embarkation port, fly in the day before. With flight cancellations and delays, issues with the luggage, and other problems, there are way too many variables to expect your flight to be exactly on time if you're cutting it close with your boarding time on the ship. Instead, fly into your port city the day before. Then you can spend the night, start the next morning fresh, and head out to board your ship. Next, get good travel insurance. Travel insurance will cover things like illness, emergencies, and even evacuations from the ship in the event of an emergency on board. Some will cover canceled flights, missed flights, and delays. Some will even cover any cancellation for any reason. Be sure you understand what your policy covers. You will need transportation from the airport to the cruise ship dock or your hotel, and from the hotel to the cruise ship dock. The cruise line and others may offer shuttle service, but be sure and check into rideshare if you have a larger group. For example, on this cruise, we had 4 people and found that it was cheaper for us to take an Uber from our hotel to the cruise ship dock than it was to take the $25 per person transport fee on the shuttle. As soon as you're dropped off at the cruise ship terminal, find a porter who will handle your large luggage to go into the ship. Be sure to keep a carry-on with you and keep things like your passport and travel documents handy. You should also keep a carry-on with you that has things like medications, personal items, a change of clothing, and anything you will need before your luggage arrives at your cabin. Your luggage may not arrive until later in the day. Having your medallion delivered before the cruise and having your app preloaded onto your phone and all of the checklists completed will put you in the green lane for boarding. This can be very useful at busy times at the terminal. As we were boarding, I found that the lines were rather long for those people trying to collect their medallions or complete their boarding checklist, while I only waited for one person in line to board whenever it came time from the green lane. There are no longer boarding time slots, so be sure that you are ready to be patient if you happen to arrive at a time that it's busy. Even though there may be a large crowd of people, the lines usually move very quickly, especially if you've taken care of all the pre-boarding things in the app. The boarding process itself is pretty easy. Drop off your luggage with the porter, present your passport and boarding pass that will be on your app, go through security that's similar to airport security, be processed through either a green or blue line depending on your pre-boarding status, and board the ship. Your cabin probably won't be ready when you get on board. They're usually ready in the early afternoon around 1 to 2. Get something to eat or drink and enjoy the live entertainment that will already have begun on the ship. Areas around the piazza, Princess Live, or on the Lido deck where the pool is if the weather permits are good places for this. We were handed a piece of paper as we boarded that told us the things that we might need to do, as well as what was open for eating and the venues that were currently in use. These are quite useful as you wait for your cabin to be ready. Also, the time right after boarding is a great time to complete the required muster drill. The muster drill consists of watching a video on your phone and then checking in at your assigned muster station. This can also be completed by watching a video on the TV in your room, but you can be completely done with this by doing it on your phone or other device before your room is even ready. Once on board and in your room, there are a number of considerations while on board the ship. First of all, be prepared for walking. There is a surprising amount of walking on board the ship. The ship is big. Be prepared. You'll do a lot of walking between venues and to and from dining areas and the buffet, as well as even on the Lido deck around the pool. If you have mobility issues, consider renting a scooter before getting on board. Elevators on the ship can be a hassle. We were on deck 10, and elevators were often full coming from above when going down or from below when going up. This can be a particular problem during dining times or other busy times on board the ship. If you can, take the stairs. I usually took the stairs down in most cases, or even up if I were only going up 1 or 2 decks. If you're using mobility devices like a walker, wheelchair, or scooter, be sure to leave extra time because it can be a particular problem getting on and off elevators. Before you leave port, be sure to turn your cell phone to airplane mode. If you don't, you may be connected to the ship's cell service, which will have very expensive roaming charges. There are stories out there of passengers that get home and find out they have bills in the thousands of dollars. There are internet packages available and are included with the Plus and Premier packages. The internet is unlimited, but I found it to be most useful only when texting or browsing the internet, but not so much if I tried to send things like pictures or videos. Remember, this plan does not cover voice calling, nor does your cell phone's roaming plan. There will be many activities daily on board the ship. Be sure to refer to the daily schedule that will be left in your room by your room steward each day. It's more than useful for knowing which venues have which events and what's open and what isn't. The pools are located on the upper decks and are outdoors, and therefore subject to the weather. We were sailing in September to Alaska, and the temperatures were mostly in the 50s, so the pools didn't get used that much, even though they are heated. Be prepared for rough seas. Take along meds if you're subject to seasickness. The ship is surprisingly stable even in moderate seas, but there are sometimes rougher seas as we saw on the first night of our cruise. Most of the time, I was not even aware of the motion of the ship, however. The production and other shows on board the ship are good, but they're not that long, and there's 2 shows each evening. Seating is first come, first served, so if you're interested in getting a certain seat or a good seat, be sure to come early. Besides the production shows, there's always something live going on in the piazza, but be sure you don't miss the live venues that are away from the piazza, as they also have great entertainment. A particularly fun spot is the Crooner's Bar, which overlooks the piazza 1 deck up. The entertainer plays and entertains when the piazza is on break, and then you're in a position where you can also enjoy the music from the piazza when they start back up. There is a Las Vegas-style casino on board, and it works with your medallion. You activate the machines by swiping your medallion and putting money in, and your leftover money or winnings go onto your account. If you want your cash when you're finished, simply go to the casino cage and they'll use your account and give you the cash. If you're a non-smoker, be aware the casino is a smoking area. Also be aware there's a rewards program attached to your account, and I found that actually without playing a lot in the casino, I actually got some offers when I got home. So take advantage of those. If you're planning a spa treatment while on board the ship, book in advance on the app. You can select your desired treatment and the time of treatment. Be aware that spa treatments on sea days are generally more expensive, and the better deal may be days you will be in port. On port days, be aware that the schedules are all on shipboard time. You can always check that time by looking at your app on your phone. Be aware that the ship will take some time after arrival to prepare for having guests leave the ship. Don't expect to disembark immediately when the ship arrives. There may be a line to get off the ship, but it will clear soon, so be patient. If you're going on an excursion, be sure to read instructions for the place and time to meet up. Many excursions will have a posted sign just off of the ship when you get off, so start looking for it. Excursion tickets booked through the ship will be available for you in your cabin and are left by the cabin steward. If you're booked on an excursion by the ship will wait for you if there is a delay. But be aware, if you take your own excursions or book your own excursions, the ship will not wait, so be sure you leave plenty of time. The distance from the ship to popular activities at any port vary greatly, but many can be explored on foot, so be sure you know how far it is before you book an excursion that may only be blocks away. Be prepared for the weather, both physically and mentally. Be sure you have umbrellas, rain gear, and jackets in case of cool weather, but also know the weather where you're going. We booked a cruise in late September to Alaska, so it was not unreasonable to expect it to be cool and rainy. Back on board and in your room, the beds can be arranged either as a double or single. If they got it wrong when you get on board, the room steward can quickly correct it. Bathrooms and showers are small but adequate and come stocked with basic amenities like soaps and shampoos. There is a surprising amount of room storage, including space to hang clothes, a small closet, and a safe. There's also a shelf above the closet area. In addition, there are drawers in the bedside tables and a desk that also contains drawers. The balconies are a decent size with seating and a small table. Our traveling companions were in the adjoining cabin, and we asked that the divider between the two balconies be opened up. It was a little bit weird the way it worked. When the divider was opened, it actually swung out against our door and blocked a part of our door. Your room steward is your best friend and can get you the stuff you need. For example, the thick comforter that was on my bed was way too warm for me, and the room steward offered to replace it with just sheets and blankets and kept that throughout the whole cruise. Our room steward was friendly and hardworking, and I made sure to leave them an extra tip. A nice and useful thing in your cabin is the daily room service breakfast menu. You simply fill it out and leave it on your door before a specified time the night before, and indicate the time you would like to be served the next morning. We found this particularly useful on the day we were cruising Endicott Arm and Dawes Glacier. We were able to sit on our balcony and enjoy the scenery while having our breakfast and coffee. You can reserve both specialty and main dining on your app. It is a good idea to reserve specialty dining ahead of time, as they often fill up. Reserving main dining also ensures that you have a time and place to be dining, although it's quite easy to cancel on your app if you decide to do something different. Be aware that dining in the main dining rooms or in specialty dining can take a while, and is pretty laid back. The meals are intended to be enjoyed and not rushed. One of the great parts of the Princess Medallion service is the ability to have food or drink delivered to you anywhere you are on board the ship. Simply order it on the app and it will be delivered to you as the medallion will locate you. Take advantage of places like the Pizza by the Slice or the Hamburger Hot Dog place or ice cream on the pool deck for snacks in between meals. The International Cafe is also a great place for snacks as well as desserts, and is a good place for breakfast and coffee in the mornings. And of course, the buffet is a great place for a meal if you don't want to do main dining or specialty dining. It is also a great place for a snack during the day. The Ketchikan main dining room can be a little difficult to find on the Discovery Princess. It is located at the back of the ship on the Fiesta deck, but is only accessible from the aft elevator and stairwells. Because of this, it can be easier to get into when you're just doing walk-up dining. The Princess Plus package can be a good deal. It includes up to 15 drinks a day, which include everything from bottled water and soft drinks to alcoholic drinks up to $15 in value. But it also includes things like daily required gratuities and 2 meals at casual dining venues. Overall, even at $60 a day at the time of this cruise, I found it to be a good deal. Be prepared to pack the day before disembarkation. Any luggage that you will not carry off of the ship with you will need to be left outside of your room before a certain time in the evening the night before. Again, be sure to keep important documents and the things you will need when you get off the ship with you to carry off the next day. You will be assigned a disembarkation time and gathering place by color. You will receive a printed paper with the color assignments as well as luggage tags to correspond to your color. The room steward will leave them the day before. On disembarkation day, simply go to the place that you were designated and wait for your time to be called. You will be scanned off of the ship with your medallion. Once off the ship, the color will also serve as your luggage pickup area in the terminal. In the terminal, keep your passports and documents out. You will need them at customs. For us, customs was very simple. We simply showed our passport by holding it up. If you're using rideshare to the airport or the hotel, be sure to check out where the pickup location is. We were not familiar with the Seattle port, and it turned out that the Uber pickup location was some distance away from the terminal, and we had to walk for a little ways, but we didn't know that until we had already called Uber and ended up paying a wait charge. And finally, if you're flying home from your cruise, make sure your flights leave at a time that gives you plenty of time to disembark the ship, go through customs, get your luggage, and take a ride to the airport. In general, mid to late afternoon flights are considered best. That's it for our 50 tips, observations, and suggestions from our Discovery Princess cruise. I hope some of these have been helpful as you plan and prepare for your own cruise. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, would you give us a thumbs up, share it, and leave us a comment to let us know what you think? We invite you to join us on our website at findushere.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. And be sure to check out this video next for more travel fun. And don't forget to subscribe. Your subscriptions are always greatly appreciated.